where do they go and what happens to them?
Well, it's an excellent question on whether they plan beyond the immediate cruelty of simply rounding up these individuals and getting them out of the way. It's a really poignant moment for that school principal because he works with those students. He sees them as people. But this is a policy that is fundamentally about not seeing these individuals, as people just like us. Instead, we are being instructed to view them as invaders, people who are here unlawfully, people who have no right to be in, quote unquote, our country. And again, the cruelty is the point of all of this. Whether or not they actually succeed in rounding up the numbers of people that they say they will, the point is to drive migrants underground, to make sure that they are scared and unwilling to live their lives publicly, unwilling to be part of our community, so they're not visible. And those who don't want to see them, don't want to interact with them, don't have to. They haven't made provisions for what they're going to do with the individuals that they will round up, how they're going to keep them with their families, how they're going to feed and clothe them, whether or not in their zeal to make sure that no government funds are spent on unlawful individuals here in the United States. We are actually going to be spending money to house them because there's a legal process that will have to be followed to ultimately deport them. And so no one's thinking about that because that's not the point. The point is simply to make clear who we are and what this country is for and who it is for, and to make clear that it is not for anyone who isn't an American. And that's where we are right now. And apparently over 50% of the country wants that.
It's not, this country is not for people who are not Americans. Yes, sis. Yes. like who else is it for besides for Americans and their children? Like, these people are just so, I'm going to tell them like the Apostle Paul said, who bewitched you? Who bewitched you that you feel like it is the American people and their children's children, my children, your child, KJ, like problem that we got to figure out how to feed them. We got to figure out how to clothe them. We got to figure out how to we don't have to figure out nothing, sis. We are being kind to them by putting them on a plane and sending them back where they came from. Because if they had tried that over at the Vatican, like Tom Holman said, then they would have had some major problems. These people hate themselves and they hate Americans.
That's what I was going to say. That was the most anti-American rant I have heard in a long time. What is she talking about? Yes, they are invading. First of all, he's rounding up, at least for right now, criminal illegals. Do you understand? These people are criminals, not just criminal because they crossed in our border illegally, but they have committed crimes. We're talking about molesters. We're talking about some murderers. These people are bad people, so bad that their own countries no longer want them. And she's talking about we're acting like we're being invaded. We are being invaded.
And
she said that.
Cruelty. No good deed goes unpunished.
Oh, yeah.
We are feeding and housing and clothing these people. The fact that we are not jailing them and putting them in prison and camps and labor camps, like you try that over in Russia. You try that over in China. They try it over here in America because they know they're going to get a nice cush meal, like she said, and they're going to get taken care of. And the gravy train has stopped. And if they were truly good people, like Sister Girl said, and if they were wonderful, wonderful people and we're being so cruel, then they would understand my time here is done. And now there's a new administration and I have to go. That's that's the kind of immigrants that are normal. Like,
yes.
Hey, I got to stay. Biden was cool with it. Now they have a new president. I have to respect that the tables have turned. So let me get my behind where I'm getting and let me try to get in legally before I don't have a chance again. But what we're getting is these little ghetto thugs. You saw the clip of the guy saying, I ain't leaving.
I know.
Is that what we fighting for? We
Yeah,
fighting
that's what she is. Big glasses, big eyeglasses is
for
fighting for.
big chain to look.
Yeah, big eyeglasses and big chain. She looks so goofy. She looked dumb as I don't know what. But this is what they're advocating for. And how about she talk about we wouldn't be going through this if the Biden administration didn't have an open border policy.
Yeah.
How about we talk about Lake and Riley? They were advocating for the person who murdered her to be put to death, but they didn't give him death. And he was like, "Oh, I'm happy. I get to go to prison here. The prisons here are like resorts based on where I would have gone if I was, deported or what have you." So, like you mentioned, this is nothing to them. If they get free food, they're getting free housing. It's nothing.
Yeah, and there's going to be plenty more Lake and Rileys because, unfortunately, we're talking about Christendom. You want to be in the hands of an angry God rather than an evil set of people. They're not going to try that over in a Muslim country. They only come here because even though we have our problems, we are still yet a Christian nation, and we still try to do right by, even though the people who have and bear our passport and their birth certificate, they hate us. Other people know that they can't try that over anywhere else. They know that Americans are legit good people and we try to be good and do the right thing.
Oh yeah, but guess what? It's a new sheriff in town.
Yes.
2 new sheriffs, President Trump and Tom Homan. And here he is talking to Martha Raddatz on ABC News, letting them know, you can cry, you can moan, you can, plead about all these people. They got to go.
Peace.
I want to go back to those military flights going south. As you said, we have never seen that before. Is that going to be a constant commitment from the U.S. military every single day to take deportees out?
Yes.
So is this what we will see every single day, ending in what the president has promised is millions and millions being deported?
Yes. But you can see the numbers steadily increase.
The estimates of perhaps those who have been convicted or arrested in the past, 700,000 to over 1 million. So after you do that, then you go after everybody who is there illegally.
If you're in the country illegally, you're on the table because it's not okay to violate laws of this country. You got to remember, every time you enter this country illegally, you violated a crime under Title 8 United States Code 1325. It's a crime.
Yep.
So if you're in the country illegally, you got a problem. And that's why I'm hoping those who are in the country illegally who have not been ordered removed by the federal judge should leave.
Short and sweet. I love that man. He puts it so plainly. She asked him, "So are you going to keep doing this?" "Yep. And we're going to do more. It's going to be more."
Yeah. I don't understand what people don't understand about this. Like, we are removing people who are a danger to Americans, right? Like, so I don't understand why this conversation is even being had. These are criminals that we're getting ready to send back. After that, you have to decide if you're going to find an American to marry. You're going to, you got some time. Like, we are being very nice about this. Like, I don't understand why everybody's so mad at conservatives. Like, we are being as humane as humanly possible with these people who don't deserve it. They're illegally. We're not responsible for them eating. We're not responsible for them drinking. We don't know we should make them swim back. How'd you get here? We should all release them at the border. We should round them up. Like, we are being kind to these people.
Right. And even Tom Homan, I remember he was in another interview and he said, "Look, if you're here illegally, it's better that you go now without us deporting you, because at least you'll be able to come back the right way.
Yes.
But if we deport you, you won't be able to come back at all. So it's better to just self-deport yourself, get your paperwork and stuff right, and then you can come back at least."
Yes.
He said that.
Yes.
People don't care.
Yeah.
Especially when you got these Democrats who are out here just, playing victim and, continuing to encourage wrong behavior.
Yeah, and they don't know what they're talking about. Like you saw that Bishop Buddy,
Oh yeah.
the female
Oh
bishop,
yeah.
and she was talking about we are she did a the who's gonna clean our toilets. You remember when your girl said that on
Oh yeah. The View.
oh
The
yeah,
View was.
on that other show. I think it was The
Oh.
Talk, and she was like, "Who's gonna clean our?"
Oh right. Yeah.
And so she was like, these people are hotel workers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Americans need jobs. Americans need to be like employed, and you're advocating for people to be here illegally, not for everyday Americans. I had a friend, KJ, that sent something and said that Americans are going to go hungry because all the illegals that do the farming, So you think that Americans can't farm? First of all, most of the farming work is done with machinery now anyway, but they can hire Americans. You just don't want them at the rate of pay that is American. You want them
Right.
for cheaper labor. And so I think that those people who are advocating for these people to be abused and used in a system that like they're sneaking and hiding around in, I think that those are the worst kind of people. Not us
Oh yeah.
saying, "Hey, you got to go and
Yeah.
start hiring Americans."
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they keep pushing on this compassion thing. It's being compassionate. No, it's not. We have a system in place for a reason. Compassion is, what about, it's not compassionate because what these people are doing, these people that cross the border illegally, they're jumping the line. From on Pop and Politics, we get email after email from legal immigrants sharing their stories of how they immigrated here and how long they had to go. It took them to finally get their legal papers because they did it the right way, but it was a long, expensive process. But
Yes.
they're so happy they did it. And, I hope that the legal immigration system does get easier for people. But think about it. It makes you appreciate your citizenship all the more when you know that you had to go through a process to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they get upset because now they see all these people crossing the border and doing all this illegal stuff, and they had to script and scrape and to do it legally. It's a slap in their face.
Yep. And honestly, I think that Kelly Osbourne. Thank you, Rihanna. We were looking for Kelly Osbourne said, "Who's going to clean our toilets?"
Oh yeah. I remember she was on The View at that time, and she said it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I will say is that like you said, the whole compassion thing. These people are not compassionate at all because these are the same people that if you get in trouble or stand in front of an abortion clinic and you are a conservative and you have to be separated from your babies, they don't
Mhm.
have any compassion for those people. If you break the law, you are separated from your family. Period. Everybody in the hood know that if you get caught and go to jail, you don't get to take any of your babies with you. You don't get to take any of your family with you. These people broke our laws and we are somehow making concessions for them. And honestly, we can't operate like that. We can't.
No.
They have
Yeah.
to go home and they have to do it legally.